Dr. Tracy Page, and welcome to Health Made Easy, where we discuss topics focused on hormonal health, weight loss, and wellness. Yes, you heard me. I want to make being healthier easier. Don't get me wrong, we all have to do the work, myself included, but let's make being healthy less complicated. I'll provide clear, simple, and actionable steps that you can implement into your daily life. Really, who doesn't want to feel better? If you're ready to increase your energy, optimize your well-being, and restore your health, then listen up. I love helping my patients and listeners optimize their health and clear away the brain fog, shed the excess weight, improve their mood, and really change the way they age. I am a triple board certified physician, and I created Health Made Easy just for you. Let's get started on today's topic. Welcome to episode number 6. Today, we're going to talk about all things that have to deal with habits. You know, this episode's going to come out in the first week in January, and I know a lot of you, including myself, have started to think about what are we going to do for 2021? What goals do you want to accomplish? For some, it's how much weight do you want to lose? For others, it's what new activity do you want to participate in or skill that you want to learn? You know, how much money do you want to make? Or do you want to get married? Do you want to find someone to share your life with? You know, when we start a new year, we all start to examine our past, and we also start thinking about what we want to accomplish for the future. But I want to challenge you, instead of setting New Year's resolutions, instead of setting goals that you may quit in a couple of months, I want you to think about your habits, because you're going to find out today that your life is the sum of your habits. Every small decision and action we do every day, we do repeatedly in and out, really sums up our habits, which sums up our life. It's crazy. So let's talk about habits. First, a little bit of trivia. There are 7 most common bad habits that all of us have or have experienced. And I wonder if you know what they are. I was kind of curious when I looked this up. So I'm going to give you the list. The first one is biting your nails. The second one is playing with your hair. The third is using the word and like. And I know there are certain words that I use over and over again. They may show up in this podcast or repeatedly in more than one podcast. Snacking late at night. Avoiding eye contact. I found that one interesting. Skipping breakfast. I know that I'm not a breakfast eater. And then cracking your knuckles or joints. So those were the most common 7 bad habits that were listed. And I'm going to share with you today, you probably were wondering when you read the title of Dots Candy and that Chewy candy that comes in that big yellow bright box, what it taught me about habits. And I'm going to share with you today what that means. So we all have habits we want to change, and sometimes we label them as bad. But in reality, we have habits that are good and habits that are bad, because everything that we do, the sum of every decision and action we make, is based on our habits. It's just such a wild concept for me to wrap my brain around, but it's so true. So I looked up in the dictionary the definition of habits, and I'm quoting it. It says they are rituals and behaviors that we perform automatically, allowing us to carry out our essential activities such as brushing our teeth, taking a shower, getting dressed for work, and following the same routes to school or work every day without even thinking about it. Now, really think about that. You know, how often, and I know I'm guilty of this, you get in your car, you drive to wherever you're going to go, you don't even think about getting there, and all of a sudden you're there, and you don't even remember or really paid attention to the stops, the turns, everything that happened from the time you got in the car to the time you arrived to your destination. Same thing with brushing our teeth. You know, we don't think, oh, I'm going to take out the toothbrush, and then I'm going to grab the toothpaste, and I'm going to put some onto the toothbrush, and I'm going to put it in my mouth, and then I'm going to brush my top teeth, my lower teeth. I mean, we just don't think about that. We just do our habits. You know, it's a habit for us. So it's interesting because these small decisions and actions that we do every day are the sum of your habits. And I'm going to say that more than once. What we repeatedly do or think about doing ultimately forms the person we are and what we believe and our personality. You know, this was researched out of Duke University, and they showed that 40% of what we do is determined not by decisions, but by our habits. 40%. So almost half of what you do every day is based on a habit, not based on a decision. I think that's pretty mind-blowing. I mean, I don't think we ever think about that our habits are what determines what we do every day. But it's our unconscious habits that happen and they free up resources in our brain to carry out the more complex tasks like problem solving, taking a test, making a decision at work, deciding what to make for dinner. These are unconscious habits that we do every day, the unconscious ones that allow us then to have time to think about the conscious ones. And so only 60% of what you do every day is conscious. Everything else is just a habit. Really, it's mind blowing. So just think, if you changed your habits, you're changing 40% of the activities that you do every day without even thinking about it. So that's why it's so important for us to focus on habits in the beginning of the year rather than focusing on a New Year's resolution, at least in my book. So we all have habits and we activate hundreds every single day. These habits can be divided into 3 groups. So the first group are the habits that we simply don't notice because they have been part of our lives forever. So kind of think of something you've been doing forever: walking, tying your shoes, brushing your teeth. These are things that you learned as a child and you've just been doing them forever. So those are the first group. They're just part of our lives. The second group of habits, they're good for us and we work really hard on establishing them. So those are the ones that you think are good for you, like exercising, picking foods that are healthy, getting enough sleep. Some people might meditate. Some people may choose to be a part of a book club and think that, they want to read so many books a month or a week. So those are habits that you have consciously made a decision to include in your life, and you put those as good habits. And then the final group are the habits that are bad for us. So again, everyone's definition of bad might be different, but in general, we think these are bad habits: smoking, procrastinating, overeating. But again, everybody's definition of bad habits are different. So some people may not think those are bad, but I think in general, we'd all agree those are pretty bad habits. Okay. Now you may wonder, where are your habits stored? So you have all these habits that you've learned from a child, ones that you've made consciously or unconsciously, and you want to know, where are they stored in the brain? So actually, there's a part of the brain called the basal ganglia, and it plays a crucial role in creating new habits and maintaining the existing ones that we have. Our research shows that habits are so ingrained in our brains that we keep acting in accordance with them, even when we know they no longer benefit us. And that's really interesting because that really tells us why we go back to doing some of the things that we know aren't good for us. It's because those neural pathways have been established and they're just part of the brain. And it's very easy for us to awaken those and to just go with it. So the research also suggests that we can change a huge part of our lives just by eliminating bad habits and creating good ones instead. But I kind of wondered, I said, is it possible to really change bad habits or create good ones? How does it happen? Like, when I'm telling my patients, we need to incorporate these things in your daily lives, well, I'm really basically asking them to change their habits. So when you create a habit, your brain creates a neural pathway, allowing you to more easily use that habit or to go to that habit. The best way to change your bad habits is to directly replace them with new ones. So you actually want to replace them with new ones because you're going to create new neuronal pathways. Those other pathways that you have, they never really go away. So you need to develop new ones because then those are the ones that are at the forefront, and those are the ones that you're going to default to rather than the old ones or the bad ones. So the bad ones are always there for us in case we need to go back to them, kind of like figuring out how to get home when you're in your car, right? They're always going to be there, and they're essential because they're the habits that teach us how to walk, talk, brush our teeth, how we eat. So we don't want to erase any habits, but we do want to create new ones. So we have to create new neural pathways. So let me tell you about my Dots candy and how it helped me understand the whole concept of habits. So I have this or love, I don't know, for Dots Chewy candy. So it comes in the big yellow bright box. And I think we all have some habits that we think are bad or we have a little bit of shame around. And for me, it was Dots candy. So it's a habit that I didn't want everyone to know about. I mean, those closest to me know I like Dots candy. But, I'm the physician and I'm encouraging my patients to eat healthy. And then I'm eating this Dots Chewy candy, which is pure corn syrup. It's absolutely no nutritional value. And for me, I can't eat just one. I have one, then it leads to 2, then 3, and then pretty soon I've eaten the whole box, whether it's a small box or it's a big box. Like, I can eat all of them because they just taste really good. And that's how corn syrup is supposed to work. Like, it just makes you want to eat more. So, because it's so concentrated and it really lights up that dopamine receptor in the brain. So, I noticed that after the first handful, they didn't really taste as special as they did when I first started eating them. So, when you're really craving something or want something, you have that first couple of bites and it's amazing. But then afterward, it doesn't really have the same effect. And I was just thinking about the dots. As a matter of fact, it almost tastes artificial. So, corn syrup can kind of taste artificial with all those dyes and everything because, those dots candies are multiple colors. So, they have artificial dyes in there, artificial flavoring. So, it wasn't the taste that kept me going back for more. It was actually the habit of eating them. So got in the habit of that I would go to eat them when I was stressed, when I was bored, when I craved sugar, when I was tired and I needed to keep going, but really wanted to go to bed instead. I would crave candy, and especially those dots. When I was hungry, but too busy to make a real meal. The list really goes on, but the underlying theme is it became a habit. So I went to the candy as a habit to soothe or to buffer. I call them buffers when I was dealing with stress, boredom, craving sugar, needing to sleep, feeling hungry. Those were all reasons that I then developed the habit of going to the Dots candy. So, how do you break a habit? Well, there's actually a really good book that I enjoyed reading called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And there were some good takeaways from this book. And so I wanted to share them with you today because they have been helpful for me. And I've used these and shared these with my patients in order to help them cultivate new habits. Because remember, we can't get rid of the neural pathways that we have in our brain, but we can create new ones. So, one of the things that he suggests is starting with an incredibly small habit. So, it's so easy for you to do that your brain can't say no to it. Because research shows that willpower is like a muscle. It gets fatigued as you use it throughout the day. If you're looking to create new eating habits and you want an easy and affordable place to find healthy products specific to your goals, consider Thrive Market, where 500,000 plus members share a desire to find better products, support better brands, make better choices, and build a better world in the process. They offer food as it should be made with real ingredients, safe for the environment, fairly priced, and created for your needs. And by the way, it tastes pretty delicious. You can shop by diet and lifestyle. It does not matter if you eat keto, paleo, gluten-free, raw, vegan, organic, Whole30. They have something for everyone. They offer wholesale prices to deliver an average savings of about $30 on every order. If you type in the link http://thrv.me/KSZ, capital JJF, you'll receive a 25% discount off your first order. Also, if you decide to join Thrive Market, you thrive and someone else does as well. Your membership does more than just unlock your own savings. It also provides a membership to someone in need. How great is that? You could help a teacher, a student, a veteran, a first responder, or even someone who is low income. Help some families, help yourself, eat better. It's as easy as a click away. I'll put in the show notes for the link Thrive Market and receive 25% off your first order. Again, the link is http://thrv.me/KSZ, capital JJF. Start eating better, creating healthy habits today. So another way to think of this is your motivation kind of ebbs and flows. It rises and it falls based on how easy it is for you to complete something that you've set your mind to. There was even a term for it called motivation wave by a professor in Stanford. I think it was B.J. Fogg, and he calls it motivation wave. So if you pick something that's so easy you can't say no, then you solve this problem by picking a new habit that's easy enough that you don't need motivation to do it, and you get it done. And so then you create that neural pathway. And because it's so easy, you can keep repeating it, and then the neural pathway gets stronger and stronger. So what's an example is like starting with 50 push-ups a day. That would seem overwhelming. But if you said you had to do 5 push-ups a day, that seems more palatable, and it's not so hard for you to say no to that. Additionally, like if you wanted to meditate and your goal was to get to 15 minutes twice a day, you might want to start out with 1 or 2 minutes in the morning to start meditating. Super easy, super easy to commit to, and it makes it easy enough that you get it done without any motivation to get it done. So again, start with an incredibly small habit to get you started in accomplishing the goal of a new habit without needing motivation. Okay. The second thing he talks about is increase your habit in very small ways. So this is a little bit different. There's a quote by Jim Rohn that states success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, just as failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. So the main concept here is that it's every day. You want to practice it, your habit every day in small ways, it's going to increase. So, along with willpower, motivation will improve if you practice doing this every day. So, let's go back to our push up example. You'll do 5 push ups every day. Pretty soon it becomes second nature. Once it's easy for you to do that, not just physically, but mentally, then you can increase your habit to maybe 10 push ups every day. Same thing with meditation. If you want to be a meditator and meditate for 15 minutes twice a day, you start out with 1 or 2 minutes in the morning and then you slowly increase it, but you do it every day. The other thing you want to do is you want to break big habits down. So I already gave you kind of that example. So again, your goal was 15 minutes of meditation twice a day, which is 30 minutes a day total. But instead, you do maybe 5 minutes in the morning and then maybe 5 minutes in the afternoon. And then you slowly work up for 10 minutes in the morning, then 10 minutes in the afternoon, and then eventually 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon. You can even use this example of breaking big habits down with running or exercise, because a lot of you are going to start an exercise routine for the new year. So your goal may be to run 5 miles, or your goal may be to work out 30 minutes 5 days a week, but maybe you start out with 10 minutes 5 days a week, and then you slowly increase to 15, then 20, and then ultimately to 30 minutes 5 days a week. Much more palatable, much easier to create those neural pathways, much easier to create a new habit. There are 3 more things that he recommends in the book, Atomic Habits, to help when you're trying to form new habits. So, another one is when you mess up, get back on track quickly. And I really like this because all of us mess up. We're all human. It's second nature. We're not going to be perfect human beings. So, what he recommends is never miss your new habit 2 days in a row. And I think that's good. I think that's good for a lot of things because once you pass 2 days, it's really easy to forget why you started it. It's almost like when you're working out. If you work out pretty consistently, you have sore muscles in the beginning, but then eventually you don't get as sore. But when you stop working out and you go back to it, your muscles have to get used to it all over again and you get sore again. So it's the same kind of concept. If you get off track, quickly get back on track so that you don't get off track permanently. Additionally, you can overcome the obstacle. You're going to figure out, oh, this is an obstacle for me. What got you off track during that 1 or 2 days? And then you're going to plan for that because failure is going to happen. It's going to happen again. And this way, you're going to have a plan of attack. You're going to be more consistent. And again, consistency is more important than being perfect. The other thing he recommends is be patient with yourself and set realistic goals you can sustain. And I talk about this with my patients all the time. You can't white knuckle yourself to a goal. You can't hate yourself to a goal, especially with weight loss. I have so many patients that come in and they're unhappy with their bodies. They don't like how they look in their clothes and they basically don't love themselves. And I'm always talking to them about being patient and being loving to the person that's sitting in the room because you're going to be the same person inside when you get to your goal. So you have to learn to love yourself and be patient with yourself and set realistic goals that you can sustain. I have some patients that come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to fast for 20 hours every day." But that's not sustainable. That's not realistic. Or they're going to give up carbohydrates forever. And sometimes people really love the ketogenic diet and it might work for them, but I think on a whole, most people like to have carbohydrates in their meals, like, at least one meal a day where eating a baked potato isn't off limits. So I always want to say be patient with yourself, love yourself, set realistic goals. And I had this great saying that I posted is patience is not the act of waiting, it's who you are while you wait. And we all have an opportunity to be different than we have been in the past about who we are, how we love ourselves, and how we care about ourselves. In the book Atomic Habits, he talks about the zone of long-term growth when you look at sustainability over effort. And we know in order to have sustainability, you have to set realistic goals and you have to be able to sustain those goals in order to have true success. You don't want to white knuckle yourself into a new habit. You don't want to force yourself into it. You really want it to become a neural pathway that you develop and that it becomes second nature, just like tying your shoes or walking. And I always again say small hinges move big doors. So small changes in your habits can lead to remarkable changes long term. There's one other thing that I wanted to share with you, which is how I got out of my habits of eating dots. So we're getting ready to start the new year, and my husband and I always do dry January. I've never really been a big drinker, but so that one's pretty easy for me. I never really developed that habit of drinking. But for me, sugar, I love sugar. Like, who doesn't love sugar? And for him, that's not really a big deal. For him, he could go without sugar. It's not a big deal. So we always do something at the beginning of the year. And so we both committed to no sugar and dry January. So one of the things that I did that helps me is I removed all candy from the house because if it's here, I'll want to eat it. And when I'm stressed, when I'm bored, when I crave sugar, when I'm too tired, those are all the times I'm really going to want to have it. And so I know that if I remove it from the house, it makes it much easier. And then I had to decide, okay, well, how do I want to cultivate new habits? What do I want to change? So now when I'm stressed, I'm going to allow myself to stop, to acknowledge that I'm feeling stress, and then to find a way to relieve it that doesn't involve sugar or candy. So I have to shift gears. I have to decide, okay, maybe I take time to do some deep breathing. Maybe I take time to work on something else that doesn't cause stress. Maybe I text a friend or talk to someone, maybe I just shift my gears in another way and don't go to the candy to relieve the stress. Because what's interesting is once the candy's gone, the stress is still there. And you're going to find this pretty much on everything that we use to buffer. So when you're bored, when you're tired, we buffer in different ways. And mine was that's candy. So now when I'm bored, I ask myself, what sounds like fun? I can do something else rather than eat. I can find some other way to entertain myself when I feel bored. When I crave sugar, I can have fruit or a piece of gum that seems to satisfy that craving. And, it's interesting about cravings. They really only last for about a few minutes. In the beginning, they seem like they occur all the time and that you want to satisfy that craving. But, if you really sit with it, you realize it's just a craving and that it usually takes a minute or two and then it goes away and your mind goes on to something else. So during that time, if I really have to have something, I've sat with the craving and it hasn't gone away, then it's much better to fulfill that craving with some fruit or a piece of gum rather than to eat candy. Also, when I'm tired and I need to keep going, I now allow myself a 5-minute break. Nothing is so important that I'm doing that I can't take a 5-minute break. So I take that 5 minutes, take some time to just step away to ask myself, do I really just need to stop, get some rest? It might be at night, go to sleep, might be during the day, might be, a walk around the office. Just really take 5 minutes to reevaluate and rather than just to go to candy in order to forget that I'm tired or to give me sugar to give me that blood sugar spike only for it to come down later. And I'm using Dots candy as an example, but it really applies to anything. Some of us go to caffeine, some of us go to alcohol, some of us go to shopping. We all have habits that we form that help us deal with whatever we're trying to deal with, whether it's stress, boredom, food cravings, tiredness, whatever it is. So, my goal here is to help you learn to cultivate new habits, to create new neural pathways, and to also to acknowledge and realize that we all do this. I call them buffers. We all buffer. And sometimes and buffers aren't bad. Buffers can be good if they get a result that you want, but buffers can be bad if they don't get you the result that you want. So eating candy, I know has no nutritional value for me. It's not going to help me maintain my weight. It's not going to help me feel good because I'm going to get a blood sugar rush and then it's going to come back down. So that's the whole point is that I would rather create a habit, or some people might call it a buffer, but I'd rather create a good habit, a good neural pathway of something that's going to get me a result that I want. And then I was going to say, when I'm hungry and too busy to make a meal, then that's a time for me to make a smoothie or to just fast rather than go to candy. So it's amazing that our habits really do make up 40% of our life unconsciously. We unconsciously do things. I unconsciously went to candy as a fixer for those different situations. So when I stopped and looked at it, I realized I was developing a habit that wasn't really serving me. And I challenge you, to really look and see, where are you making these unconscious decisions every day? And are they getting you the results that you want? Are they helping you move forward in your life? Are they helping you become the person that you want to be? And if you can honestly say that they're not, it's a good time to examine them. It's a good time to say, hey, how can I make some new habits, create some new neural pathways that are going to help me achieve and be the person I want to be and show up in the world? Now, you may be wondering, well, I have dots again. And absolutely, I'll have these because those neural pathways are ingrained. And remember, I told you they can never go away, but I'll have them out of choice, a conscious decision, and not out of habit. And that's what I encourage you to consider. Your conscious choice, your conscious decisions, you want to save your brain power for those, and you want to make sure those are really good ones that are moving you forward in your life and helping you feel great, achieve what you want to achieve, and helping you show up in the world the way that you want to. And leave those unconscious habits to be things that also progress you in a way that helps you in the world, such as walking, driving, tying your shoes, brushing your teeth, eating, all of those things that we do and we take for granted. But really, they do make up the sum of who we are. And let's use those good conscious neural pathways to make choices that help us live our best lives. And always remember that you can change the way you age. And part of that is what you do every day, the habits, the lifestyle that you live every single day. So next time when you're going throughout your day, ask yourself, is this an unconscious habit? Is this something that I've just learned to do? And could I change this? Could I create a new habit that serves me so much more? And really examine yourself, because you will find that you are doing some unconscious habits that may not be serving you the way that you want to feel, look, be, and get to those goals for the 2021. I hope this helps. Give it some thought. Also, to check out that ad for Thrive Market. It's a great way to develop some new healthy habits by surrounding yourself with good snacks, good healthy foods. They have everything there, from foods to products to all kinds of things. And you get 25% off your first order. It has been a really great tool for me to help me stock our pantry with good, healthy replacements for those lovely Chewy candies. All right, until next time, I'll talk to you later. Take care. This is an important reminder. The podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a diagnosis or a prescription for care. Please consult with your healthcare practitioner before moving forward with any of the therapies or treatments discussed in today's podcast. If today's topic resonated with you and you want more information, please check out our website, wisconsinfunctionalmed.com. All one word, wisconsinfunctionalmed.com. Also, for those of you who want further assistance with weight loss, consider our online weight loss program called The Pause, which can be found under Services. We really focus on helping you reach your weight loss goals. We provide a supportive and interactive and engaging environment, which is led by me, Dr. Tracy Page, so you can get all the help you need. Remember, you can change the way you age, and I'm here to help.